Alright, so time for trailers. What did I get this time? A Walk Among the Tombstones and St. Vincent. I kept on hearing about St. Vincent on Brad Jones's site with his midnight screenings. I don't normally go on Trailer Addicts or anything to catch trailers, but well, I do, but I don't. I normally wait till I do one of these to talk about it. What I think I might do is if I'm not getting certain trailers, what I might do, what I'll probably start doing is like a 42nd Street thing where there's a bunch of trailers. I'll take a look at them and take a look at like some kind of short side movie that I can just like cover in a few minutes and then finish off with the trailers. But St. Vincent, Bill Murray's in it, Melissa McCarthy's in it. I can't remember the name of the kid, but basically Bill Murray has to look after McCarthy's kid, and they form a bond, and Bill Murray's in it, and Bill Murray's awesome because he's Bill Murray. It looks like they're going for like the more emotional side of it, like they did with Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou there, and Lost in Translation, which I never saw, but I heard it's Bill Murray being really good. Like, he's not like Ghostbusters Bill Murray, but even if he's not giving a Ghostbusters performance, he's still being sort of funny because I do believe he ad-libs a lot of the stuff, like a lot of his lines. He'll ad-lib stuff. Speaking of Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters was playing at the theater today with like one of those re-releases or whatever, which was kind of cool. But the other trailer, A Walk Among Tombstones. As soon as I saw the trailer for this, I had to go out and I bought the book just because it's Liam Neeson and he's trying to solve a murder of this guy's wife, and it's just Liam Neeson being really awesome Liam Neeson, and from the looks of the trailer, it looks like this is a movie that, even if it wasn't Liam Neeson in the role, that it will still be a good movie. It just looks really dark, like a dark psychological kind of thriller, sort of in the vein of Seven or True Detective or Gone Baby Gone. Like, a lot of the scenes it shows are like just dark, dusty houses and stuff like that. I do have to be careful though, because the last time I thought a psychological thriller was going to be good, I got Prisoners, which a lot of people liked. I was one of the few people who was like, this movie's way too fucking long, and it seems like the only reason shit happens is so they can make the movie go on longer. Because really, that movie could have been solved in like 5 minutes. It could have been solved. But I got other trailers, but they were just things I've seen before, like Dumb and Dumber 2. The more I see that trailer, the more I'm like, maybe it'll be good. I just don't know. It's gonna be better than the prequel Dumb and Dumber movie that came out. I don't know how many years ago, but I know it came out a while ago, and that movie was god awful. So it doesn't have really far to go to be better than that. I'm not sure about everything else. It's just Dumb and Dumber doesn't hold up anymore. The other movies they did, like Along Came Mary and stuff like that, Meet the Parents, sort of hold up still. But Dumb and Dumber just doesn't hold up. It has a few laughs in it, but it just... Then again, I don't find Jim Carrey overly funny anymore. He was funny when I was younger, and like there's a little bit of nostalgia there, but just... What was the other... Oh, The Interview was the other trailer I got. I really hope they release a new trailer for that eventually, because the teaser, it's starting to get annoying. They need to show like some more stuff from it, but maybe they're holding on to it just because they don't want to have that impression of like all the good scenes were in the trailer, which I can't say about swearnet because I only saw the trailer once and I don't remember it. But The Interview, I think it's going to be good. The whole thing with North Korea losing their shit over the trailer, that was insane. I do believe artists are responsible for what they publish. You can't just put out any old thing and insult people and not expect things to happen. But when someone like that loses their shit because of a trailer of a movie, No. People have been portrayed poorly in movies before. Like, I'm pretty sure there's plenty of movies that show Castro as like a sadistic son of a bitch, when he's probably not that bad. Like, but there's like, you know what I mean? So Kim Jong-un had no right to lose his mind the way he did. Kim Jong-il, if I was Kim Jong-il, I would have been mad when Team America came out, but that's one of my favorite movies, and like, if Kim Jong-il doesn't lose his shit when Trey Parker and Matt Stone do something, I don't think his son should lose his mind when Seth Rogen and James Franco do something. I'm hoping that the interview is part of, like, some kind of anthology of, like, James Franco and Seth Rogen doing shit. Like, that would be really cool. Like, this is the end, where they were like, it was them and it was the end of the world. Or this one where they're going to kill Kim Jong-un. Like, I think it would be cool if they had one where, like, they're detectives trying to solve a murder, or, like, I don't know, they have to take on terrorists or something like that. Like, it would just be really cool to have more of these movies where it's like them being meta, doing these, being put in these impossible situations. I think would be really cool. So, final thoughts on the movie is cheap seats. I would say it's not the worst thing ever made. Definitely not. It's just, I sort of expected more, but I can't be upset because I didn't know what I was going into. It's not like I had, like, really high expectations. It's not the worst thing I've seen this year, and it's definitely not going to be put on my worst movies of the year list. So, I will probably be doing my Strain review Monday. So, talk to you guys again on Monday. Alright, so welcome back to another review on First Impressions. I just got back from SwearNet, the new movie made by Rob Wells, John Paul Tremblay, and Mike Smith, who most Canadians and people would know as the Trailer Park Boys. This movie is their departure from what made them famous, and attempt to promote their own website, their own material, and their own content. I can't really be mad at this movie because I didn't know what to expect going in. The only other thing they've done besides Trailer Park Boys was the Drunken on Drugs Hour, and it's not that I didn't like that show, it's that I didn't like the characters. It was them playing, like, sets of 3 different characters, and it didn't really gel well with me. This movie, on the other hand, it's really meta. They're playing themselves in, like, a fantasized version of how they actually made SwearNet. I'm assuming none of this actually happened, because some pretty crazy shit happens in this movie, but it's basically Mike Smith comes up with the idea for that they start their own website so they can have their own content, so they're not censored by, like, networks and stuff like that, which I know that's a big problem that they had when they were doing Trailer Park Boys. One network said to them, like, you can't really do this, or if you do, we're going to cut it down to this, and then Showcase was like, yeah, we're gonna let you do some stuff, but here's some stuff that we kind of want you to look out for. So they compromised and they went with Showcase. I think CTV was going to be the original broadcaster of Trailer Park Boys. I'm not really sure. Like I stated before with my reviews, I don't research the movie or anything like that. I just go in, mind open to the movie. Any knowledge I have of the Trailer Park Boys is stuff I knew before I ever knew about this movie. And I have complaints that people say my reviews are rambly, which they are, but that's the point. I don't write scripts. I don't care for scripts. I just come in with my basic format, and I do that. But anyway, back to the movie. There's not really that much of a story here. They're trying to get the website up and running. Mike Smith takes a loan out with this British loan shark and his little black brother or associate. I can't really remember. But So that's the one thing about this movie is that there's a lot of sub-stories in this that kind of sidetrack the main plot or never get resolved, and it bounces between them a little bit. One of the side stories is Mike Smith dealing with the loan sharks. The loan sharks have a few good scenes. The little one there doesn't talk. All he does is flick his lighter open and closes it. And the other guy, he talks like kind of like that stereotypical loan shark, like, well, if you give us the money, then there'll be more hop in your step than if you didn't. And Mike Smith's like, I'm getting kind of used to your lingo, so what I think you're saying is that if we don't pay you the money, you're going to cut our feet off. I wouldn't say this movie's like laugh out loud funny. I think it's the humor supposed to come from the situations and all the swearing they're doing. I kind of figured that was the case going in. I never really found Trailer Park Boys to be overly like laugh out loud funny, like a gross out comedy or anything like that. I just found it to come naturally from the situations. Like, there's actually some people that I know that act like this sort of thing. This movie, I don't know people like this, but this movie was like, the humor did come from the situations. It wasn't like laugh out loud funny. If you find swearing funny, you might find it more entertaining than I did. I'm not regretting it. I didn't hate the movie or anything. It's just, it wasn't like laugh out loud funny. But it was good. But the other subplots are Rob Wells. The reason why I'm pausing a lot is because I have to think of their names, because I know them by Ricky, Bubbles, and Julie, and I have to actually, like, I just have their actual names in front of me. So, Rob Wells. His kind of like sub-story is that he has a really crazy girlfriend who sucked the dick of this famous musician, and she's like really batshit fucking insane, like manipulative. The other plot line that involves him is he's supposed to help John Paul Tremblay cross the finish line in this race with his father's ashes. And there's a third plot line with him that comes out of left field, that supposedly the girl that they were doing advertising with is in love with him. Like, there's just too many sub-stories going on. Like, if they had just, for this movie, done it to promote swearnet, like, just shit they would show on the site, show some of it in this movie. Or, like, yeah, have them pay off the crazy loan shark, or something like that. Like, that would have been cool. Or have it focus on the side story that didn't even have a resolution, which is that Canadian TV, or, yeah, not Canadian TV, but CNT, I think that's the network that was in there, is suing them over a stunt that happened at a hockey game. Like, focus on that. There's just so much shit going on, and I think this movie might have been around 2 hours. I'm not really sure. Like, I didn't notice the time, but I did kind of notice the movie was dragging when it was like halfway through, and there was like the big dramatic tension moment, like everyone goes their separate ways. And then it went on, it kept going and going and going. And I think it might have been over 2 hours. I'm not a big fan of comedies being over an hour and a half. The only exception to that, I would say, is It's a Mad, Mad, Mad World, and maybe Bridesmaids, because Bridesmaids wasn't really a comedy, but it was like, had some funny parts, but also had a really good story behind it. It was a fractured story. But I'm not really complaining. Like, I enjoyed the movie. Like, I thought some of the scenes were funny, like when, what's his name there? The guy who plays Randy. Patrick Roach. He plays, like, himself, but for the site he has to dress up in, like, the superhero costume, and he's swear man, and he gets drunk, and he swears. one of his scenes is he's in a bar singing swearioke, and he sings Pat Benatar's "Hit Me With Your Best Shot," but he's replacing like a lot of the words with like dick and or cock and cum, and it was just funny because I've never seen someone fill in the words like that before. Like, I've seen people satirize songs plenty of times with random words, but just the way he was doing it was funny, and how like the crowd was like so angry at him for doing that, and he freaked out at them. That scene was funny. Or how the club owner is doing like cocaine, like John Paul Tremblay is just holding this like sheet of cocaine while the owner does it like right in front of him, and they're just like, what the fuck. And then after that there's like a scene where Rob Wells and John Paul Tremblay trip balls on acid. I thought they could have had a little bit more fun with that scene, in all honesty, like show a little bit of what they're seeing with the acid, and then show like how they're acting in real life, sort of thing. Like there are certain scenes where it takes the unexpected route, and by unexpected I mean the less funnier route. Another example of this is they get kicked out of the race because they were on LSD, and the guy in charge of the race is this Texas guy with like a missing eye, and they call him Pussy Eye or something like that. I can't remember. Something like that. And Mike Smith wants to get the boys back into the race, so he goes over there. He's like, I'll do anything to have them back in the race. And they're like kind of hiding what he did to get them back in the race for like another 20 minutes of the movie. And I was thinking that, like maybe he was like, well, if you think my eye's a pussy, then why don't you fuck it or something. Like, that's what I thought they did, because I don't know, I think that would have actually been kind of funny. Because this movie didn't stray away from male nudity. There was like one scene of female nudity, but like there was a fair amount of male nudity in this movie. But I think that might have been maybe something that the censor board did, like because I was expecting this movie to be like Wolf of Wall Street when it came to swearing and nudity, but no, there was a lot of swearing, sure, but it wasn't as creative or constructive as Wolf of Wall Street. Like, I'm not going to say creative, because like a few things that Mike Smith said about Roach there, like how fat he is, like big fucking blubber beluga skin or something like that, or it's like, Jesus Christ, your breath smells like Shamu just fucking cummed in your mouth, liquor cummed in your mouth, or something like that. Like, just weird shit like that. But my main, I'm not going to say complaint, but something I found weird about this movie is Rob Welch, John Paul Tremblay, they play versions of themselves, like fantasized versions of themselves, which I can get behind. It's just Mike Smith. It's just such a contrast between seeing him play Bubbles and seeing him play himself, but I don't even know, I don't think this is what he's like in real life. Like, in this movie, he was like really aggressive and angry and like insane, sort of. Like, I really didn't like his character in this at all. He was an asshole through most of it. Like, there's only a few times where he's actually a decent person. Let me think, what else did... I thought it was cool that they shot, like, around Halifax, like, places that I recognize. They had a few scenes at the Nelson Hotel in Halifax, which was pretty cool. But I'm hoping to see more from these guys, in all honesty. I'm definitely going to check out their website, actually. For sure, because I do find what they do funny. I like the Trailer Park Boys, though. I like their separate stuff, too, but it's not my taste, I would say. Because comedy is universal. Like, we can all get different degrees of enjoyment from different things of comedy. Like, some people can watch an Adam Sandler movie and have the time of their life. I, for one, cannot. I think he is the most unfunny person I have ever seen. Some people can watch BoJack Horseman and find that show funny. I'm one of those people. I think, or British humor. Like, some people can enjoy dry humor, some people can't. Comedy is not universal. But I'm hoping they make maybe a sequel to this, or there's some kind of follow-up. Because, like I said, there was that gleaming plot point at the end that didn't get resolved. About them being sued. And the subplot about the TV executive girl there having a crush on Rob Wells was kind of, it was like, oh, I have a crush on you. They kiss after his girlfriend, like, breaks up with him, and the musician there she was sleeping with leaves her. And, like, that's really the end of that storyline. Like, there's nothing else, and it just cuts to the race. There was a few times where I found the editing in this to be really distracting. There's one scene where Mike Smith is in his house and the loan shark calls and he's like, fuck off. And he appears behind him, they have a confrontation, and he needs to pay him some money. But instead of like having, I don't know, some kind of transition between him trying to get the money or the next day, it just cuts to next day he's at the race. He approaches Tom Green and Carrot Top and like, oh hey, you're big celebrities, can you help me with this? The second thing I'm surprised about, there's not a lot of cameos in this. I thought there'd be more. I thought like they'd get a whole bunch of like Canadian like people in the movie, but they didn't. Tom Green and Carrot Top are the only cameos I recognized. If there's more, message me about them, because that would be cool. Tom Green is has a really good cameo in this. Him and Carrot Top keep on popping up in like scenes at the race, and Tom Green's like, I'm passing out keychains. I'm passing out keychains. Here, want a keychain? I'm passing out keychains. And Carrot Top is being Carrot Top. And in all honesty, I actually didn't mind Carrot Top in this. Normally, I don't really care for him. I especially loathe that movie that he was in, head of the board or chairman of the board or whatever. But Tom Green is good in this. Tom Green got old, too, which was, I think he's like in his 40s now, but it's just, it shows in this. But he was fucking awesome. Tom Green is always awesome. He's one of those people that he's just so hyper and wacky that I can laugh at his stuff. He can also be really deadpan with his like delivery, like when he's like, I'm handing out keychains. I'm handing out keychains. Like that's almost, he has other lines than that, but that's like the first half of the movie, that's what he's doing. The next, like, when he's done handing out keychains, the next scene he's in, he's like, I'm not handing out keychains anymore. And it's just, it's so awesome. Or when they're running to the finish line to make it so that John Paul Tremblay can cross the finish line with his father. Like, his father's ashes are in, like, a doll. You see, like, Tom Green just, like, doing these weird faces as he's running. He did a serviceable job in this. The acting is fine, in all honesty. I don't really know how the humor in this is supposed to be delivered. Like, because with A Million Ways to Die in the West, okay, granted, that movie wasn't funny, just because it was the same fucking joke over and over and over again. Oh my god, something wacky happened. What? Something wacky happened. Like, but even if it wasn't funny, whenever Seth MacFarlane had to do physical comedy, he did it good. Like, he has really good physical timing. And with Neighbors, the funny banter between wasn't Christopher Minutes, but between the frat brothers, like that was good, because like they just really sold Dave Franco and Zac Efron, like their banter, like they sold it with their delivery and stuff like that. These guys sell it, it's just that the lines aren't, I'm not really going to say hitting their mark, because they don't, they're not like zingers, they're not like zingers, it feels like, I'm not going to say normal conversation, but like, if you hear someone talking, Like if you're with a group of friends and someone's swearing and they say something, it's kind of funny, but it's not like laugh out loud funny or like, oh my god, did they just say that sort of thing. That's kind of where the humor comes from this, I think. And I liked it. Like it wasn't laugh out loud, but it worked. But if you can go see this and you like Trailer Park Boys, I'd say sure, check it out. In all honesty, if you're not a fan of Trailer Park Boys, I'd suggest going on a Tuesday or cheap seats or something. I don't think you have to rush out and go see it right away. Like, wait for cheap seats, in all honesty. It's a good movie, but you just have to be wary of what you're getting into. Just due to the fact that comedy isn't universal. It's not the laughs per minute of something like The Other Guys, where it's like funny scene after funny scene after funny scene. There's a few scenes in this where the things that are happening are just so outrageous that you can't help but laugh, like when they're at the hockey game and Mike Roach falls off the out of the skybox and he's hanging by his pants and his like dick's in the camera. It was gross, but it was funny, sort of thing. But or the part where they're taking acid, that scene actually was kind of funny. Or the scene where they're racing, where Carrot Top was losing his shit in the car for no reason. He's like, I can't read the map, it's in Canadian. Like, it was a pretty good movie, though. I'm gonna take a break and I'll be right back with trailers.